Welcome everyone to 2025, 2025 or 2025, depends how you want to pronounce that one. I'm Steven Nonsense, geek culture analyst, semi-extraordinaire, and soon to be, what I like to say, retro gaming academic, but more about that, later in the year. Before we begin properly, we're gonna take it easy. Like, haven't done this in a bit. I've done a bunch of other stuff in the meanwhile, and time to get the rust off. So I'm gonna ask you to tell me how the sound levels are as per usual. Background music as opposed to my voice, because there is no way for me to actually check this besides my meters, and that shit differs from human to human. Hey, Strategy Joe, hello and happy new year to you too and yours. I wish this following year brings us as many wished for accomplishments as we would like, or at least a decent one maybe. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Surprised to see you on. I guess maybe you're still on holiday or have some time off, but it's always nice to have you here. So you're only seeing my face for now. I will switch to the double soon, but soup. Let's start the year, I thought, with a nice reaction stream. Like after the last one, and if you've watched the last one or some of the shorts I made from the last one, that one, the conclusion of that one was kind of dark. Not necessarily, okay, maybe it wasn't dark per se. It was very introspective and you know, disappointing. Let's say I was resigned to that fact before, but it always sucks when it gets when an unpleasant conclusion gets reiterated. Always sucks. In the meanwhile, I've had a video that really took off, and that's why right now I'm at almost 6,000 subscribers, and I'm super thankful for that. That's not a sign. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean anything really. It only means that one video I managed to somehow hit, you know, the right alchemical combo for that video to take off. Doesn't necessarily mean the rest of the videos will do the same, because it's kind of impossible. It also doesn't mean that I'll be repeating that video ad nauseum. I was planning on making that video, and I also have plans for other list type videos for this year, so those will continue as scheduled before. So don't expect just to see listicle after listicle from me. That said, the first proper video of the year will in fact be a listicle, because that was kind of sort of maybe the plan. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But let's get this Road and Pony show started. Feel free to ask me stuff in the comments. Feel free to say hi, especially. I started, so YouTube has now, YouTube's really been focusing a bit more on the streaming aspect of the platform and on the community building sort of aspect. Still nowhere close to the types of features that Twitch has, but I'm not on Twitch anymore, so YouTube's my jam. And I just saw there's now goals for super thanks and stuff. I literally almost never get those, but you know, in case you're feeling giving, there is a goal set up. That thing is more of a principle thing than you know, just trying to make money thing, because one of the few sort of regrets I have about my channel is for not turning on monetization the very moment I could, because you know, I was thinking, no, like if people see my stuff, they will get what I'm doing, and it's just gonna do well because this is dope stuff I'm making. Turns out after I turned on monetization, you know, slightly more people started seeing what I did. Not a lot, but slightly more. Anywho, give me a sec. Give me a sec. Let me pin this. Boop. Say hi if you drop by. Okie doke. Just so that I know there's other humans out there. Okay, let's get this started properly. So I honestly, and this will sound weird, maybe it will sound weird, I had to check what MSN is, cause I don't even know if I initially knew what MSN is. It was a thing in the background, literally. Let me switch. Boom, there we go. It was a thing in the background recently, and I never really gave it any sort of attention. To find out that MSN stands for Microsoft Network, and it's basically a news portal. Ye olde news portal. Well, and nowadays they've basically integrated all the Microsoft type stuff that they offer, like various features and shit. And and as I was saying, the only reason I'm aware of this thing is because I occasionally use Edge for some very particular thingies. And when you open up Edge, it opens up MSN, and I saw this, and I'm like, you know what? I found this like I think a week or so before the end of the year, and I'm like, you know what? This would be a good, hopefully nice, hopefully fun start of of the channel content. So before we begin and read anything from them, this needs to be clear that this is advertised as 55 PC games of all time. Of all time. And seeing as how I deal with, you know, a lot of the past of the all time moniker, I consider myself a valid judge, jury, and executioner of this type of a list. I have only one, well, I have a couple of rules when it comes to these things, and let's start with them. The first one is the main one, basically. If you're saying all time, there cannot be something that's newer than 5 years on it. That's just a blanket statement, and I am painting with a broad brush because it just that it's just real. As I mentioned in my prior reaction stream, in order for something to really be properly gauged, time has to pass. The thing has to go through, you know, aging, literally, and the audience has to also grow up with it, and impressions and reactions and analysis of it has to go through time to actually see if it is good. So that's the main one. So if there's any title here that's younger than 5 years, first of all, it's unlikely I've heard of it, and second of all, I will ignore it completely because it's bullshit, at least according to me. And this is my channel, and it is according to me. I am Judge Dredd, jury and executioner. The softer sort of rule I have is just pick one. If it's a ginormous series of games, just pick one, and that one will represent the entire series. I don't need two types, even if it's Fallout, and I love Fallout. Don't pick Fallout 2 from the older ones and then you go for New Vegas just because it's 3D and different. Nah, you can just choose, you know what, pick the first one, and you can say this one because this is the originator of the series franchise, and we'll just use it to represent all of them. Done. Donezo. So basically it's just those two, more or less. Nothing newer than 5 years, and just pick one. Cool, good. Let's see what this MSN thingy is. Now that that's cleared up, I hope. It says, in many ways, the PC is the OG gaming setup. Not in many ways, in all the ways. Before consoles dominated the market, people allowed their trusty home computers to pull double duty as a work tool and entertainment vehicle. This feels like AI wrote it. PC gamers wear their systems of choice as a badge of pride. Asshole PC gamers should be added there. Often building custom rigs that take massive amounts of time and money to construct. And luckily, even though gamers will likely make a few mistakes on their journey to get the perfect gaming CD, wow, look at that. Look at that SEO. There are plenty of modern PC games that don't require a fancy system to play. I'm pretty sure the modern PC games they're talking about are indies, or it should be indies. If it's not indies, I don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, no matter what kind of gamer you are, you likely have some fond memories of PC gaming. You would be mistaken. There are large, ginormous amounts of gaming individuals out there whose only contact with gaming has ever been consoles. And PC gaming is something foreign, ancient, from a different galaxy. Or, you know, solitaire. Either through educational games that tested your knowledge in a fun way. I've never, oh, you know what? I was gonna say, I've never found an educational game that tested your knowledge in a fun way, but going back to my last video of the year about the giant box of donations, Encarta had a game. One of the I think all Encarta encyclopedias had a game on it, which was basically a trivia game through a labyrinth. So that was kind of fun if you're into general knowledge and that type of shit. or through the games that help build the core beliefs of what was possible in storytelling. That phrase makes no fucking sense. Hey, Sci-Fi Cafe, welcome, welcome. As I was saying, or through games that help build the core beliefs of what is possible in storytelling. My guy, or girl, or AI, or person in general who may have written this, storytelling's been around since before writing. Yeah. Games didn't invent storytelling. There's these things before games, they were called books. Before that, clay tablets. Before that, sagas and, oral history. Anyway, perhaps you found a bustling role-playing community to join that simply wasn't available on console systems. Potentially. Or you spend a good bit of your time hunting down indie gems that can only be found on PC. Fair enough, I used to do that. I did that for many years on the channel. No matter what kind of gamer you are, this was definitely written by AI. You're likely aware of the impact PCs have had on gaming as a whole. No, you're not. Again, from my direct experience of being part of a variety of communities, there's a large amount, a ginormous amount, I'm gonna say a majority of gaming people out there who are deeply unaware of the impacts that PCs have had on gaming. Okay, the following games represent the best the platform has to offer, from historical releases that shaped the industry, okay, to newer titles that push the boundaries of video game storytelling. False. Not that newer titles don't push the bounds of storytelling, but that if they're newer than 5 years, according to me, they can't be on any list of all time. Because it's literally been less than 5 years. You know how long all time is compared to 5 years? Pretty fucking long. Anywho. Let us see. Well, we'll see about that. I don't know, Joe. We'll see. But it's about the funsy. It's about the funsy. Also, it's 55. Like, I would have trouble trying to set up like 100 titles of all time. That would be hard. That would be a difficult one. Choices would have to be made. Cuts would have to exist. Even if I'm just, again, limiting myself to PC games. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm expecting bullshit, but let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Because I haven't looked through this, by the way. I never look through these things. What you see on the stream is original cold sort of reaction. That's what this is, right? It's a reaction stream? Yeah. Cool. Let's go. Okay, Zoo Tycoon. Interesting choice. We start off well. Also, from Microsoft, so fair enough. I would expect a lot of Microsoft stuff here. But that said, Zoo Tycoon, whilst not a series that I played, oddly enough, despite me being deeply into strategy and city building games, the Tycoon games, never really sort of I played a little bit of Railroad, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Tycoon, but the other ones never really fit for me, because again, it's set in modern or current day times, and I tend to like my sort of strategy management, city building stuff have a historical bent or a very nice particular super sci-fi theme. No spoilers, Joe. No. So starting with Zoo Tycoon is interesting. It's cute, let's say. Let's see what they say about it. May not be the first Tycoon game, it's not. Quickly established itself as a juggernaut in the management scene space after debuting in 2001. Disagree. What I liked in the screams and thrills of Rollercoaster Tycoon, like, yes, Rollercoaster Tycoon, especially 2, because of the open sort of version you can play, I would think that is the Tycoon to Tycoon, but still it started with something that is, 24 years old by this point, so I'm okay with that. It more than compensated idyllic landscaping and a massive menagerie of animals, educational as well as entertaining. Oh man, is this gonna be very educationally sort of slanted? I'll see, because Microsoft, yeah. Unlike lots of other PC games of the day, held a truly transcendent appeal. My person writing this, or AI, do you know what transcendent means? It was a game you could play at your grandma's house or at the library. Wow. That is it's quite the social life. And yet that universal accessibility didn't detract at all, sorry, from how fun it was to play. The loop of gradually unlocking more and more. Fair enough. Yeah, I told you. I said, Joe, earlier. It sounds like it's written by AI. But that said, Zoo Tycoon as like number 55, I guess. Sure. You know what? Fine. According to my rules, replace this with Retro Tycoon 2, and we're good. Next. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Yeah, so they're going into the educational sort of slant, as I was saying earlier. That said, not necessarily a bad pick. If this were the only educational sort of PC game here, I don't think I've ever played this one because Carmen Sandiego wasn't a thing for me growing up. But, you know, at least I'm glad it's... again, I'm glad it's something old and it's not new as all hell. Unfortunately, it does seem to be US focused, US centric, which is what it is. That's something I harp about quite a bit. But the only means at my disposal to fight against it is to talk about stuff that I grew up with in Eastern Europe, in a post-communist country of Eastern Europe. So yeah. So it says, where in the world is part educational PC game, part cultural phenomenon. I mean, I think where in the world Carmen Sandiego in general was pretty big in the US especially. But yeah, maybe it was for like a chunk of the people for a period of time. I'm just glad it's an old game. Hey, Unicom, welcome. Rain World 2017. That's why I haven't heard of it. However, it is older than 5 years, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. What is the life of a slug cat? What in the tarnations is a slug cat? Players find out the answer in Rain World, in which they take control of a tiny white slug cat, again, who must survive in an increasingly inhospitable world. Rain will harm the sweet creature. It's acid rain. But staying inside indefinitely also isn't viable. Yeah, you need that vitamin D, yo. It says it's a Metroidvania platformer. To progress in, you need to accumulate karma, which they lose upon death. Ooh. Karma unlocks a series of gates that open new areas for the slug cat, again, to explore. In other words, one bad move can force players to lose it all. Oh no. Meaning the game provides a Souls-like experience to keep the most hardcore gamers happy. Ugh. I wouldn't add Souls-like to what is ostensibly a platformer, in which, you know, historically speaking, you would die and start from the checkpoint or from the beginning of the stage anyway. But again, I think this is written. I think this is in part at least written by AI. Ah, Unicom, yes, getting community flack for saying something that's not the yeah, I know. Like, I got a shit ton of flack from people for saying that from a modern perspective, the maze puzzles in Indiana Jones and Fate of Atlantis are dog shit. From a modern expectation. That's what I said. And I am completely right, by the way. But, you know, hey, Sci-Fi Cafe here, coming with some personal Carmen Sandiego facts. That's cool. I'm like, I only have knowledge of Carmen Sandiego from you know, pop culture osmosis, basically, like the occasional mention of a cartoon or of a video game or something like that. So I get the sense it was like a thing for a period of time. Hey, Nikolai, welcome. Look, I don't hate again, Unicom. I don't hate Fate of Atlantis. I just hate. Do I hate maze puzzles? You know, I think that's one of the things I can use the hate word for. I hate maze puzzles. I hate level puzzles in CRPGs, especially. More about that later this year, kids. Heyo, foreshadowing. Not that really, but yeah. So Rain World, it's older than 5 years. Not necessarily something I would have played even in my indie era, because I wasn't, even when I covered indies, I used to play like generally strategy, deck builders, that sort of stuff. I mean, you can check out my backlog. But I'm pretty sure this maybe came on the footsteps of Unicom. Was that thingy that was popular with everyone that was like Ori and the Blind Phantoms or some sort of random title like that? Yeah, it was something, Ori and the something. Blind Forest. Okay, no. Blind Phantoms, way better title. The name of my next punk band, by the way. Anyhow, I'm not saying Ori wasn't anything. I'm just saying I think this came as a result of that. Obviously, I didn't play it. Okay. Dream Daddy, 2017. What the shit? It's a game that you might not want to play around your partner. It's a spicy dating sim. Oh, it's dating sims. Okay, so that's why I have no knowledge of this. Comedy gaming group that got super rich for playing on. That's fun. Plot follows a dad who has just moved to a new town with their daughter Amanda. After designing the players then move into dating. Okay, so it's a dating sim. I don't know if I would put this exact title of as a dating sim represented. I think there's others maybe, but again, there's not a subgenre that I'm versed in or honestly interested in either. So yeah, maybe. Oh, it was a pigeon dating game. Like put that. Like Unicom says there was a pigeon dating game. So put that on here. That sounds better. Ooh, Myst. Definitely occupies a divisive place in PC game history. On one hand, it pioneered the genre of point-and-click adventure games. On the other hand, some people like felt that this could be one of the worst games of all time because it's more of a novel than a game. Oh no, it's a game that's not a game? Holy, you know what? I should be wearing pearls for this. Let me clutch those motherfuckers. Let me clutch those motherfucking pearls. Holy shit. Oh no. Sure enough, players travel to a strange world through a special book, then proceed to explore the island while completing a series of puzzles. I do have pearls. I will have to wear pearls on the next reaction stream. An IGN perspective about Myst phenomenon explains the brothers Robin and Rand Miller initially made games for kids. TBDB down. IGN, again, I don't care about what IGN thinks about anything. Shape the future of gaming, creating an entire genre of puzzle-based walking simulator, sort of, including hidden gems like What Remains of Edith Finch. It's possible that the easy-to-understand gameplay made Myst more accessible than other computer games at the time. I would argue against that, because other computer games at the time were definitely not as, resource-intensive and complex, actually, or trial and error. But it's also possible a new generation of players relish the opportunity to see a new genre emerge. From the deeply buried and elaborate backstory to its FMV cutscenes, yes. Myst was, upon its release, one of a kind. That's quite true. And Myst, you can argue. Yeah, that's why I say I don't know. I don't know exactly. I cannot tell the perspective from which these things are written, which again adds to my theory that they're written by AI. But that said, this is an old game. This is an originator of more or less point-and-click adventure games, at large, not necessarily, but the sort of, I call them slideshow point-and-click adventures. And after it, we would have a bunch of FMV sort of games that some of them would cross over or exist basically on consoles, but this is where they come from. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily one of a kind. Seven Guest, interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting one to pull out, actually. You're right. It also has to do with, like how much the discourse is around Myst as being the progenitor. It's kind of like when we were talking about tactical shooters, and how basically there's sort of a unholy trinity of tactical shooters. Basically, it's Delta Force, which I covered, Rogue Spear, I think, and maybe Rainbow Six or Spec Ops. That were basically these are basically three massive originating titles of the tactical shooter that kind of came out in the same year, basically, or at the very least they came out so close to each other that they didn't really. Neither is a clone of the other. You may be right. Unicom. So this goes to your seventh guest point. Like this came after seventh guest. Like there was no, especially back then, there was no time to, get inspired. Let's say, from something that's already out. So they were developed at the same time, and they came out basically more or less within the same sort of time span. And when you talk about one, I believe, or at least I think that you can also talk about the others in the same sort of vein. So what is the first? Calendaristically doesn't matter that much as far as I'm concerned, in terms of popularity, in terms of what has had the staying power. But it is important to know and to document that thing and to have it again for historical context. But look, I'm glad we're like 5 games in, and it's been mainly older games except for that daddy thing. I don't know. Oh, okay, so we do have Roller Coaster Tycoon, and it's not the second one. See, now we're getting into my, like what I said initially, my second rule. Pick one tycoon to represent them all, basically. And I would have picked probably Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, but they started with Zoo Tycoon, and now they're giving me Roller Coaster Tycoon. I mean, I guess they're made by different publishers and maybe even different studios, but still, anyway, because technically speaking, you can add Tycoon to anything. Like there's a recent game called Potion Tycoon, I'm pretty sure. Because I remember looking at that right before I started pivoting towards retro games. You hope RuneScape's in there? Maybe. Roller Coaster Tycoon might not be as big a piece of PC gaming hazard as other similar games like Civilization and The Sims. Again, this is, I don't know who wrote this. Who the fuck wrote this? Or is this like, are they doing like a neg? Like it's a, they're saying the opposite by saying the opposite. Because no, Roller Coaster Tycoon was and is a big piece of PC game history. Pretty as on pretty much the same sort of level as the Civilization series and The Sims. So anyway, create your own dream coasters back in '99. The seemingly niche focus of Roller Coaster Tycoon ended up being its strong suit, with countless possible permutations on each scenario depending on each player's unique design approach. It's a game that just feels so tight and rewarding. Most impressive thing is that you don't have to be a fan of roller coasters or management sims. Yeah. Okie dokie. I don't even know if it's that. Like Unicom says, you're not as pretty as the other games, but I like you. I don't even know if it's that per se, but it's just like it's non-factual. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, the Roller Coaster Tycoon series is up there with Civilizations and The Sims and the Impressions games in terms of strategy management games. SimCity, of course. Like, how come it didn't put SimCity in there? Because it's in the same vein. It's not the same thing, of course not. But so what are you saying? They're like flipping it back. So what? So you're saying Roller Coaster Tycoon, Civilizations, and The Sims aren't as good as SimCity. Let's not bring Unicom, please. This is my channel. Let's not bring capitalism into it. Inscription. Oh man, 2021. See, now cannot abide. Dwarf Fortress. Cool. Now I have heard a lot about Dwarf Fortress. Unfortunately, by the time I heard a lot about it, it was already several years old, let's say, and people were like, oh shit, it's super complex, and I was like, I'm not into it. And even if it seems like the type of stuff that I would be into, not you would be surprised. I see, technically it's still in, Dwarf Fortress is still in development, so it's technically not old. Fair enough, good point. Dwarf Fortress is now I just want to read through these descriptions to make sure to further my theory. This has been written by AI. So, Dwarf Fortress is an unbelievably detailed simulation roguelike game that lets you play through the entire existence of a civilization. Fair enough. Two main approaches. You oversee a fortress of dwarfs. Is it dwarfs or dwarves? With like VES, I don't know. And you'll need to gather resources. I need to read the Silmarillion and see what Tolkien says about that. Manage your workers and deal with all sorts of catastrophes. Fair enough. The depth of the world simulation is truly astonishing. The game has a steep learning curve, but that's because it manages to track environmental effects, creature behavior, the skills and schedules of all your dwarves, and so much more. There's an entire universe inside Dwarf Fortress, which is beyond impressive for a game first released in 2006. Man, I love my real life mute button. It was originally freeware release. That created its little world with ASCII graphics. While plenty of people still prefer to play that way, there is now a paid version as of 2022 with more advanced graphics, which might help newer players learn the game's interface and mechanics a little more quickly, blah, 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 blah. You know what? This has been around for long enough, and it has created its own sort of niche, let's say. It's dwarven niche in a mountain. Well, yeah, I think it can be. Like, I wouldn't put it on any of my lists because, you know, I didn't actually play it, and it's never really been in my sort of orbit, but I can see why this could be and should be here. The Case of the Golden Idol 2022. Nope. Slay the Spire. I know Unicom likes this one, loves this one. By the way, Unicom, there is a it's dwarves in the Silmarillion. Yeah, okay, thank you, Unicom. So, according to the Bible, according to the fantasy Bible, the plural of dwarf is dwarves. It is what it is. I know you love Slay the Spire. I have not played Slay the Spire, but I have played a lot of Slay the Spire clones, and I enjoy those, like indies, of course. And I heard there is a second one coming out, Unicom. Did you know this? Did you know there is a STS2 coming up? Good. You're on top of that. Give me a sec. I need to arrange my desktop a bit. I have my soda in the way of the button, so it's a bit awkward. Anywho, the roguelike genre, punctuated by permanent deaths and short but challenging runs designed to make the player fail, was further. This is an AI definition. Like, you cannot tell me a living, breathing human went to their keyboard and was like, the roguelike genre, comma, punctuated by permanent deaths and short but challenging runs designed to make the players fail, comma, was further innovated with a... No. I doubt it. And if you did... Ooh, boy. Slay the Spire didn't immediately achieve popularity upon its release. You're right, Joe. Maybe Copilot wrote it. Didn't immediately achieve popularity upon its release though. It took until 2019 for the gaming industry to come around to its brilliance when it was nominated for Best Indie, blah 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 blah. A deft combination of roguelike punishment mixed with deceptively complex deck building makes Slay the Spire a unique game. Where many games require an established brand, a narrative hook, or flashy aesthetics to draw in players, Slay the Spire relies fully upon its clever gameplay. There really isn't a story to the game, and progression comes down to how hard the player wants to push themselves in creating better versions of a randomized deck. I understand there's mods, and I understand there's a Sailor Moon mod, and that's all I know about Slay the Spire. But I do know it's ginormously. And again, I played a lot of deck builders that came after this one, and they're not that bad either, to be honest. I think one of them is called Banners of Ruin, and the shtick with that one was that all the characters, all the cards are, anthropomorphic animals. So that's kind of cute. And I played another one called All the Way Down, I'm pretty sure it's called. I don't know, I have videos. I have old videos about these, but I don't know if they're public anymore. Anywho, cool. I'm all for. Oh, and another deck builder I played that, an indie deck builder I played that is super themey is, and yes, that's not a word, but I just said themey. It's called Tainted Grail Conquest, not Tainted Grail The Fall of Avalon, which is the first person thing I've streamed. No, this is Tainted Grail Conquest, which is a very interesting deck builder that takes place in the same super dark Arthurian setting. So if you're into considerably lesser known indie deck builders, look for Tainted Grail Conquest. Again, Conquest, not The Fall of Avalon, two different games that take place in the same world. Good. I hope I established that. Factorio. Ooh, yeah. So I have been... What's the word here? I have been warned by Unicom and many others about Factorio. And I have been warned in the sense that it's great, you love it, don't play it because it will just absorb your life. And considering my experience with Stellaris, where, you know, I had to, at a certain point, before reaching the 100-hour mark, I was like, you know what? I have to not do this. I have to not do this because if I continue doing this, I will only be doing this. And whilst that's not necessarily a bad thing, it was for generally my purposes of, like, you know, life and especially the channel. So often described as one of the most addictive games out there. Reputationally speaking, I would agree with that. Factorio loops its player in with the promise of endless possibilities in a factory-based building and management sim. Released in 2016 into EA, the ultimate spreadsheet game. Oh, look, see, Unicom, like, I've been calling city builders interactive spreadsheets for years. Finally, the computer, finally, a robot somewhere has taken note of that and stole it, of course. Manufacturing and shipping logistics. Give me a second. Don't sound like a lightning on battle, but Minecraft, Factorio. The only true impetus in Factorio is to build, just to keep building, and eventually a planet-spanning network. Blah 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 blah. 2016. Yeah, no. I definitely see the appeal. I definitely see the appeal. Then that's why I've never played it, to be honest. But again, it's also interesting to note when we think about newer games and retro games especially, is that when it comes to the older games, basically one of the reasons why some of them, a lot of them basically, are so well known is that there was literally less choice back then. And the bunch of titles that made it through, most people became aware of. Now, to have something that came out in the past 10 years that has built a similar type of reputation in an environment where there is way more choice and you have a much easier time in basically dropping games and starting something new, that says a lot of that says a lot about that particular game and its potential of being one of the greatest of all time. And Dwarf Fortress we just talked about, and that one's definitely there. Factorio as well. Pretty sure Minecraft's gonna show up here as well. There are a couple, there are several newer games that have somehow managed to replicate a similar grade of popularity and penetration in a very different sort of environment than in the past, and that is to be commended. Boop. 2013 Kentucky Route Zero. I've only heard of this because it showed up on an older list. Point and click adventure game with simple stylized graphics that convey the mood. The game follows Conway, a truck driver that delivers antiques from a small shop to make a specific delivery. Conway has to traverse Route Zero, a strange otherworldly highway through Kentucky that takes him to a surreal world full of its own problems. You know, what the Americans would call Europe. Soon, he's interacting with a whole host of odd characters and finding himself faced with philosophical questions no one was prepared for. Yeah, so Europe. It's odd that this was released in 2013. And despite me being pretty much into indie games back then, I had never heard of this until the other list. I don't know if, like, I have to see if other point and clicks are on the list, because I wouldn't go with something released I wouldn't go with this one basically to represent point and clicks. So we'll see what the future holds. This one, a bit of an odd choice. This one and the daddy one. Stanley Parable. It's... yeah, okay. So I know people were oddly fascinated and enamored by it, and that's totally fine. Not something that really appealed to me, to be honest. But, you know, I don't know if it's... necessarily of all time grade, but maybe it is. I started its life as an Half-Life 2 mod, soon became its own full-fledged title. Dibidim. Yeah. Okay. I don't have a lot on this one. But the Masquerade Bloodlines, oh, there we go. I do have something on this one. And usually what it is that I haven't played it. Oh, it starts with a Shigeru Miyamoto quote saying the delayed game is eventually good, but a rush game is forever bad. But what happens when a game is both rushed and delayed? Well, VTMB. Let's see what the co-pilot says about this. VTMB is a legendary RPG that crafts a winding story revolving around the machinations or machinations. I think either of those pronunciations are correct because I've heard both of them. I think it's generally machinations of vampires and their attempts to hide from humanity. Their masquerade, full of memorable story beats and characters. However, the lifeblood of Bloodlines, see what they did there maybe, sort of, lies in its replayability. I wouldn't have added Bloodlines after, so I can say, however, the lifeblood of the game, because that's enough of a reference. One of the best vampire games ever, sure, gives player a huge selection of skills and clans to choose from, and depending on how a player builds their vampire, they can complete missions with either a silver tongue or a shotgun. So look, it said either with a silver tongue or a silver bullet. Like, it's just the joke, the reference, the metaphor, not really. It's right there, because your enemies also are werewolves. See? Definitely written by a robot or someone who thinks they are a robot, I guess. It's right there. It's right there. Some clans offer more than just skill buffs. Malkavians, for instance, are completely insane. Thank you. Not only do conversations play out differently as NPCs and players alike try to decipher their cryptic comments, but Malkavians are the only class that can get into an argument with a stop sign. Fair enough. Doesn't matter, you're gonna come. Like, yeah, if you've played the game, you may know that, but if you haven't, like myself, and you hear vampires and you also hear werewolves, the general reference there is silver bullets. Also, you say an observatory. Do you know how much silver is used in those fucking lenses? There is a lot of silver in there, is all I'm saying. When Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines released, the game was a buggy and incomplete mess. True. Audiences and critics praised it for, it just says Bloodlines way too many times, for its storytelling, characters and world, but they criticized it for almost everything else. However, that potential was enough to attract a dedicated following of modders who released unofficial patches that polished game mechanics, squashed bugs, and reintroduced cut content. And nowadays, the GOG version comes with arguably one of the most or the most updated version of that, and the game is playable. Much more so than initially, I'm pretty sure. Though combat is odd. The choice of... like, I generally have a problem with real-time combat. But the choice of real-time combat, especially the implementation in VTMB, is peculiar. But yeah, definitely good for this list. Oh no. Oh, they think. Oh, Overwatch and Overwatch 2. Ew. No. Neither. Let me think about it. Yeah, nope, still neither. If you're gonna add something, just add Dota 2, not this. Anyone heard anything about Overwatch lately? Or, you know, in the past 5 years? I'm not sure it should happen. Now, here we're talking Day of the Tentacle. Day of the Tentacle is definitely the type of point and click I would put on a list. And, you know, there is just no discussion about that one. Back in the heyday of adventure games, LucasArts was widely renowned as possibly the best developer working in the Le genre. Sci-fi adventure, sci-fi? Well, it does have time travel, true. And, you know, talking, walking, solo tentacle, so I guess sci-fi. Adventure Day of the Tentacle, the sequel to LucasArts' landmark Maniac Mansion, follows a group of friends trying to stop an evil purple tentacle from taking over the world. That delightfully goofy premise perfectly said. You know what? To be honest, hey Bob, to be honest, Day of the Tentacle is almost never mentioned on any sort of sci-fi game list. And I will make a note of it and I will mention it whenever I make a future sci-fi themed list. That delightfully goofy premise perfectly sets up the zany tone of this adventure, which, that's very true, which is filled with great art, memorable music, I don't know what the music part, but sure, and some genuinely hilarious puzzle solutions. Well, if by hilarious you mean batshit insane, yeah. Oh, and the time travel via porta potty. Fair enough. Odds are good that you don't have the ability to play the original CD-ROM these days. Yeah, fair enough. There is a remastered version of the DOTT, and I played it, or I played a bunch of it, and it's dope. The remaster is an excellent way to dive into the classic, much like with the Grim Fandango remastered. You don't lose any. It's one of those point-and-click adventure games, at least in this case, seem to be one of those, seems to be a genre that are not, you don't lose anything with the remaster. In fact, you gain. Because generally, you get the option of playing the game in its original pixely sort of shape. Hey, Dungeon Master next door. Thank you. Welcome. Because you usually have the option of playing the original version as well as the, you know, cooler vectorized image version, rendered 3D whatnot. But you also get the benefits of mild quality of life improvements. And whenever I talk about Green Fandango, I say this: look, that game is such a more pleasant, smoother, streamlined experience with the point and click approach of the remastered version. The original tank controls in Green Fandango were shit-tastic. Like, I get they were trying to set the game apart because it was one of the arguably the first 3D point and click, full 3D point and click adventure games, well, sort of full 3D point and click adventure games. I get that. Tank controls were all the rage because of the Resident Evils and stuff on consoles. I also get that, but the implementation in that time for Green Fandango was shit-tastic. Because, and if you haven't played Green Fandango with tank controls, don't. Just play it like despite my passion for retro and for experiencing something as close to original as possible, you can skip that one on me. Like I'll vouch for it. The biggest issue with it was that the way in which the way in which the game telegraphed to you that there was something Manny can interact with was Manny's head would swivel towards the thing. Now with tank controls, when two or more things were close to each other, his head would sometimes shift and drift and skip the thing you wanted to. So the problem there was that you lost so much time misclicking, but you weren't misclicking. The game was mistelegraphing where you wanted to do. And similarly, just moving around with the tank. So yeah, I always want to make that clear. Like, not everything that's retro is good, kids. Some stuff is great. Some stuff needs a bit of repolish and quality of life additions, and some stuff should just stay the fuck where it is in the dustbin of history. It's like, oh, we know we did that, let's not do that one again. So let's not do point and click adventure games without the point and click part. So the same goes for this one. Like, the remastered usually are great, and you also get, in general, especially from the Double Fine people, developer commentaries. And look, I love Green Fandango. Love it a lot. Way more than you think. Just check the video. But also being able to hear, like ideas and stories about things that were happening when particular things were made, just offers so much more insight into the process of making the game, which unfortunately is something that has never properly been, messaged to the people enjoying it. There's a Tentacle, yes, definitely. Definitely on the list. Death Stranding, definitely not on any of my lists. Persona 4 Golden, technically speaking, it's 2020, so like this one as well, because it's 2025. So technically, it's 5 years. Or giving it the benefit of the doubt. I don't know how many people will still be are still talking about Death Stranding, or will still be talking about Death Stranding. It's not something that I care about. Persona 4 Golden. Now, is it just me, or couldn't have you just used any other Persona game? I don't know. Aren't they very similar? I'm just saying. I'm honestly asking because I don't know. Also, from what I get, it's usually Persona 5 that kind of was really big. But I think this one is maybe a newer one. Oh, because it's on PC. Okay, that's why. Maybe? I don't know. 2020, it's kind of early to put it on a list. Again, technically it's 5 years, where I say you can start the discussion, but you can start the discussion. I'm a fan of the X3, X4 games. I don't know what you're talking about. Divinity Original Sin 2. Okay, well, holy shit, this was released in 2017. It's been a while already. That's nice. Look, Divinity Original Sin 2, in general, from what I understand, is a pretty good, great game. I played the first one till maybe like halfway. And yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Unfortunately, like I've always planned to go back to them for it, but unfortunately, they're too new now for my current time interval. And there is way more older CRPGs that I'm way more interested in visiting and spotlighting than something like Divinity Original Sins, either of them. Because again, these titles are super well known by now. They don't need me. No, none of that for me. But Unicom might know some stuff because he's into flight simi stuff. Thingies. My retro category does not include remakes and remasters. In general, like I will play them if they're somehow better, but if the original is still playable, I tend to play the original. Again, exceptions to the earlier thing I just said about adventure games, point and click adventure games. Like for Green Fandango, definitely play the remaster. Let's see what they or Copilot says about Divinity Original Sin. Many role-playing games limit the decisions player can make. I would argue on consoles, yeah. That doesn't mean the games are inferior or the decisions they provide are meaningless. Just that if a game introduces 3 solutions to a problem, there usually isn't a 4th. Divinity Original Sin 2 doesn't believe in those restrictions. It's the first time this computer has ever played a CRPG. I have no consoles, Bob. In Divinity Original Sin 2, technically I have a PS2 Slim, but I've never really connected it because I haven't had the time or the space, so nor do I have a TV. Gamers can roleplay however they want. That is well. This title gives so many character creation options, from race to backgrounds, that the number of possibilities almost feels endless. Wow, someone give this person a D&D book, or this computer. Players can complete missions on equally varied number of ways, which influences the branching and reactive storytelling. Holy shit! Discovered the wheel. Offers a library worth of skills and spells, and yeah, it's dope. Definitely should be here. Like, hopefully, if you're gonna choose one Divinity title, yeah, go with this one. Bob, yeah, that's cool. I'm not exactly in the sort of time amount or space amount where I can also spend time on playing consoles. What I do want to use the PS2 for is at a certain point to make comparison videos for PC games I want to cover that also have console versions, like 13 for instance, or the Hulk. Oh shit, we have a surprise black and white, people. I did not see this one coming. The black and white generally like it pops up here and there, but not as much as it should, considering its let's say reputation, not really reputation, but the impact it had. Because reputation, Mali knew what dog shit. But the thing is, the important thing is this: the goal, the scope of Black and White was so immense for the time that it was scoped at, and there was really no way it was possible to actually make. anywhere close to that scope. It could be made nowadays, I'm pretty sure. And there's been a project underway for many years now called Fata Deum that is doing something very similar. That said, Black and White is still a very sort of important milestone, let's say, milestone title for PC gaming, both because of what it wanted to be, which it didn't really achieve, and at the same time, a great example of how hyping up and marketing something before anything is actually made leads to an expectation unbalance at the end. So let's see what this says about it. Fable creator Peter Molyneux is known for its controversial or disappointing game endings. I don't think he's known for the game endings that as much as for, you know, the marketing and hyping up. But he's also a pioneer. That's true. One of his endeavors was Black and White, a god simulator game that allows players to build civilization and then destroy them in interesting ways. I mean, you could, I guess. Players take on the role of a god, ruling over a population and making choices as they see fit. A benevolent god earns the love of their people through kindness, but gods can rule just as easily through fear and terror. That's fair enough. Through the use of a creature, a giant. Okay. Yeah. Well, look. I have a video on Black and White. The major issues with Black and White currently are that I don't know who has the rights to it, and that's why there hasn't been any sort of remaster, or it's not available on any sort of distribution platform. Thankfully, it is findable on places like myabandonment.com, and there are some fan community patches that will make it run on modern systems and resolutions. Bye, Dungeon Master next door. Thanks for stopping by. So it's unlikely. It is unlikely that we will ever get, well, not ever, but anytime soon, that we will get any sort of Black and White anything. So in this case, if you want to experience it, you have to actually play the original, which, like I said earlier, just check out my video basically, because I offer quite a few hints in my video about how to get it, how to play it basically nowadays. Team Fortress 2. Well, Unicom, I think this is your show. This is not something I've ever played. Not something I've ever had the inkling or interest to play either, but I've had friends, much like Unicom over here, who has played it, and they've been fairly enamored with it. And I understand there's a lot of people who enjoy the game, and that's totally fine. The one thing, my only interaction with this game were the sort of skits that presented the characters, and I always thought those were so fun. The game cannot be as fun as those skits, so I was like, you know what, I'm fine. I don't. Yeah. No. So Valve's Team Fortress 2 began its long life as a Quake mod. Soon transformed into its own thing. It's an online free-to-play multiplayer game that pits players against blah 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 blah. Received hundreds of updates since it arrived in 2007. What makes TF2 stand out amongst other online free-to-play games is that each character has a specific role that alters their playstyle. For example, the heavy weapons guy, or the heavy, has more health than any other character in the game and has access to an impressive minigun, which is anything but mini. Ooh. Playing as one class against another provides specific advantages to players. Blah, 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 blah. Look, Just because I didn't necessarily play it doesn't mean I'm not oblivious to this one as opposed to some other things. So yeah, I'm pretty sure, much like I was saying earlier about games that have managed to create this sort of long-lasting and widespread reputation in a modern setting as opposed to the older ones, they definitely deserve their flowers. CSGO 2. I mean, look, yet another game I've never played, really. But Counter-Strike was, I'm pretty sure maybe 70 to 80%, maybe even 90% of internet cafes in Romania basically lived off of Counter-Strike players for literal years. Was Counter-Strike, and to a lesser degree StarCraft. And I was in that lesser degree of StarCraft players. Because I didn't play Counter-Strike, I played StarCraft. So it's look, it definitely has to be on such a list, because it is, again, one of these things that has gained a massive sort of reputation. On the other hand, that reputation is not necessarily all good, because just like Unicom says, it did teach kids about the endorphin rush of gambling. So, you know, plus and minuses. But from a simple gaming impact perspective, yeah, there's no way around this one. It kind of has to be here. Cuphead. Okay, this one is, I don't know about this one. I know of Cuphead. I am deeply aware of it. I also know it was super big. It was super interesting. It looked super cool and whatnot because of the animation style. I just don't know if this would be on a list I would make. I don't know. It's also, whenever I think about these things, and whenever I talk about them on stream, it's also about how much the particular title I notice, I see still being talked about true enough within my sort of awareness orbits or bubbles. Which, you know, we all have to be very aware of how much, you know, how customized basically our internet experience is nowadays. And how, you know, no one can really have an eagle-eyed view of everything. It will be kind of impossible anyway to have it. However, there is, like, I do my best to, I mainly focus on retro, that's true. But I try to keep up with some news here and there. And I'm a part of many, especially Facebook groups and communities, but I also am on several other platforms, not to mention me having my own community on this channel and whatnot. So I don't really see Cuphead discussed that much, talked about that much. While something like, for instance, Slay the Spire, I see it mentioned from time to time. That's kind of, that's why I think maybe this shouldn't necessarily be here. Unicom comes with a great suggestion, Rayman Origins. Damn skippy, Unicom. Love that suggestion. Terraria. Look, Terraria, again, not something I played. I have a very good friend who did play it quite a bit, and she enjoyed it. And I'm pretty sure she wasn't the only one. It's another one of these games that managed to build, a reputation and penetration and a ginormous community in, in a setting with way more competition. Terraria has often been described as a sort of 2D cousin of gaming giant Minecraft, mainly due to their shared sandbox style gameplay. Terraria was well received when it was released in 2011. Again, IGN, I don't care about IGN. Although Terraria and Minecraft certainly share similarities, Terraria differs by focusing more on combat and player progression. The world of Terraria is hostile and unpredictable, so creating a bunker of apartments for the game's villages and arming oneself to the teeth is required for survival. Okay. The game's continued active development and dedicated modding community has ensured its longevity. Terraria released its final content update in 2010 called Journey's End. Following nearly a decade of consistent improvement and additions. Look, yeah, like I have nothing against it. Like Terraria, I know it's big. It's Terraria. And the other thing that gets talked about a lot is Stardew Valley, which again, I've never played. And I always thought it was more of a console thing, but it's also on PC. And look, it sounds like a very chillaxy game, and I'm cool with chillaxy games. Hey, one of my favorite modern classics is Dwarf Romantic, so that should tell you something. But Terraria, yeah, I gotta say, with like 3 exceptions, let's say, pretty much like this. Cuphead, yeah. What else? The Daddy Sim, and another one. I'm fairly digging. I'm fairly vibing with the list. It's definitely. I think on average, it's definitely much more slanted towards the older stuff. And I'm not minding it. I'm not minding my experience. Dota 2. See? Here, we got Dota 2. This one cannot not be here. The true beginning is like, okay, by the way. So, my experience, I've played some Dota 2. And I gotta say, I rarely regret time I spent gaming. I regret the time I spent in Dota 2. There's nothing to say about the game. That just says something about me and my non-enjoyment of the game. Again, that doesn't mean anyone else cannot enjoy it, or anyone who does enjoy it is somehow dumb or some shit like that. That's not what I'm saying. When I say that, I will say that. No, I'm just saying I really didn't enjoy my time with Dota 2, and that's about it. I did sell a bit of the items I got apparently, so I made a little bit of money off of it. So yeah. Well, yeah, but come out. I haven't played League of Legends, so see what I mean? I've played this one. This game took heroes from Warcraft 3 and gave them the Defense of the Age. Plus, I played the original Defense of the Age and several of the versions on the neighborhood lands way back when. Being a custom game with many different players, plagued its ability to consistently grow its player base. Let me yawn. Valve eventually hired someone to make Dota into a standalone IP. Blah 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 blah. Games Annual Championship. Look, and it was also super big for esports. I was making this point about StarCraft being basically the thing that really sparked it, really made it massive. Even if there were esport events before that, there is a pre and post StarCraft era, and then Dota 2 is something that took that and just ran away with it. But look, even if I don't necessarily enjoy it, it has to be here, much like Counter-Strike. Deus Ex, hey, okay, we got Deus Ex up in this. Cyberpunk 2077 has rightfully gotten praise for bringing the high-tech, low-life future. Oh my god, this is written by Copilot. But Deus Ex is arguably still the gold standard. Developed by Ironstorm and published by Eidos Interactive. It landed on PC, Mac, and PS2. Holy shit, there's a console version? How could they get Deus Ex on a console? What? Anyway.
blends its top-tier storytelling and world building with a hodgepodge of mechanics that will feel deeply familiar to anyone playing the game today. Missions are fairly open-ended, meaning players can charge in guns blazing or opt for a more stealthy approach to their goals. Side missions, nice. Yeah, look, Deus Ex, one of those titles I didn't play. I should have. I know I should have. It unfortunately came at a time, so it was released in 2000, came at a time when I did not have a current day computer. For most of the start of the 2000s, I had like a 486 and a 586 computer. Hence why I've played so many older games than I should have. And by the time I got a current day computer, which was towards the end of 2004, I was 18. So I was kind of interested in playing what was current back then. So something from 2000 was not on my list of things to play. But yeah, Deus Ex is definitely one of those games. It's up there with VTMB as far as cool RPG type things that I should have played but didn't because of reasons I just outlined. God of War 2022. It took them that much time to get God of War on PC. Is this the first God of War, or is this like one of the newer ones? Because it's 2022, but I know God of War is way older. I don't know. So it is God of War 5 technically. Thank you, Nakam. It's also 2022. Technically, I wouldn't take it into consideration, but you know, knowing that the series is actually older and also the game could have come to PC earlier, I'm gonna go with like a choose one rule for this one. That said, I still wouldn't put it on all-time PC games because it hasn't been on PC for that long. So, nope. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Let's quickly talk about the Witcher series. So, I really enjoyed the first game. I played the first game at release with all the bugs and glitches aplenty. I enjoyed it tremendously. And then I waited for a while, of course. Then Witcher 2 came around and I played that one and I liked that one. That was fine, but something of my interest in between Witcher 1 and 2 had decreased. And that's a thing that happens to me especially. Generally if I get really super into something, I am really into that something. Unfortunately, if that something isn't finished, let's say, if it's a series of something, and there's a long break in between episodes, chapters, entries, whatever, it is possible that I lose interest in the thing. And that's kind of what happened with The Witcher. So I really liked the first one. Second one was fine. But by the time the third one came, I had less than zero interest in anything Witcher related. Literally anything Witcher related. That includes that Netflix show. But I know people enjoy it, and that's fine. Yeah, apparently there's another one coming out in some time, so whatever. Look, any new game, any game that's coming out currently or what, it really doesn't interest me because I'm unlikely to play it. I would like to play it, but alas, the past is way more interesting to document than the present is, as far as I'm concerned. Well, that's fine, Bob, but you have a lot of other lore and mythos to fall back on when it comes to VTMB. Also, you could replay VTMB like 20 times and it would be 20 different experiences. The Witchers, you can replay them a couple of times for different experiences, but I don't think it's 20. But again, this depends from one person to another. I'm just saying how I am and what happens to me. And this happens with other... Oh, okay, another great example is A Song of Ice and Fire. So I'm much like most of the planet. I got into it with the show, and we can argue about how that ended, which is arguably not great. But for the first couple of seasons, that was great, and I started reading the books, and I enjoyed the books, and then I finished the books, and then the wait started for the Winds of Winter, and the wait that wait started for me something like, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. And the book's still not out or ready or even halfway done or anything, to be honest. And in that time, I have lost all interest in anything that is The Song of Ice and Fire. Like, I don't... It's not that it makes no difference to me, that I do not care. Like, he could come out with all the books at once. I will still not read them because I don't care anymore. I literally don't. No, Bob, I did not watch... Bob, I've said this before. I have stopped watching TV like 5 years ago, basically. What I watch is basically either old or, you know, somehow baked in. Although I do enjoy some Disney Plus series, to be honest. I find them very, very amusing. Which are new, but you know, those are cartoons, so may not really fit. But no, I haven't watched anything new, and why would I? I don't care that much. Like, I'm quite a bit into the Tolkien stuff, and I haven't really read Lord of the Rings. I've read the Hobbit and the Silmarillion, but I'm not interested in reading the books. Not really. Ooh, Dark Souls. Now, the problem is, when did Dark Souls come on PC in 2018? Okay, fair enough. Was it, how soon or late after it being on console was that? Because again, it's the type of thing I associate with consoles. Let me see. Oh, it came on PC from 2011? So that's why I don't associate it, because the port was terrible, Unicom says, and this is the remaster. Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, I'm of two sort of worlds about this. Definitely an impactful title for gaming overall. Whether or not it should be on best PC games of all time, I don't know about that one. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know. System Shock 2. Okay. Yeah. Good. Sure. Look, we got Deus Ex and System Shock 2. It's not bad. The original System Shock is a landmark of game design. Yeah. I can argue that. Yeah. I cannot argue that. I mean, yeah, it pretty much is. One of the first titles to combine FPS and RPG mechanics, allowing players to explore and overcome challenges as they saw fit. A fair bit of emerging gameplay maybe here and there. Many beloved titles from Bioshock to Deus Ex owe their existence to System Shock. Yeah, pretty much. Well, they were obviously inspired, I'm pretty sure. System Shock 2. Players are stuck on a drifting spaceship surrounded by murderous mutants, psychotic cyborgs, and a crippling sense of isolation. That's fair enough. Emphasis on RPG mechanics like its predecessor. Lets players explore and fight as they see fit. Yeah, look, I got nothing. System Shock definitely needs its flowers. That super remaster of the first one, I think helps with it. Yeah, look, this list is not bad, man. At least currently. Oh, they had to fuck it up with a VR Half-Life game. I'm not gonna. No. Look. Unfortunately, Skyrim is the one that really made it into the mainstream. I understand that. Look, this was actually the first Elder Scrolls game I also played. But I had friends who had played the older ones, and they were like, "Look, man, Skyrim is this and that, but Morrowind had way more freedom of basically everything." Yeah, it was also back then, especially, was also had some glitches and some shit. Those have gotten ironed out in the meanwhile. But it's like Morrowind is much more of a proper role-playing experience. And back even further, Daggerfall, Daggerfall is gigantic, and there is no handhold. It's yeah. So unfortunately, Skyrim is the thing that will ping in most people's brains related to the Elder Scrolls. And it's one of those things where what comes to mind? What comes to mind is the story of the Cherry Pie dude. The guy who wrote the song Cherry Pie, which had nothing to do really with what the band normally sang, but he wrote that song as whatever the fuck, and that's the thing that hit. That's how they became famous, and he hated it. It still does, I'm pretty sure. Made a lot of money, don't get it, but as far as an artistic sort of, he didn't really want to become famous for writing Cherry Pie. This is kind of like that. Like the Elder Scrolls really didn't deserve to become famous with Skyrim. They should have become famous with mainstream, with Morrowind. But look, as I also say, enjoy what you enjoy if you enjoy it. Oh fuck, this can fuck off. Civilization 6, this is the one they go like, it's best games of all time, and they go with 6. Look, I can understand people having problems sort of with the older games. As far as I'm concerned, if I am to choose one Civilization game, I will always go with 2. Mainly because that's the one I put by far the most hours into. And I've actually played up until 5, I'm pretty sure. So it's also the fact that I didn't play 6 or 7. But I don't know if I would have gone with 6, to be honest. I'm glad it's still getting, I'm glad the series is still going though. Now that's something important to note. It's because it's the type of game that it's the type of series that, normally wouldn't have. There's other things from way back when that have not made it into the 2020s and afterwards. So Civilization series definitely has to be here. I wouldn't go with 6, but then again, I'm very retro focused, and technically speaking, as far as I'm concerned, 2016 is beyond my scope of my channel. And also, whenever I talk about things and I put things on lists, they tend to be things that I have direct experience with. So 2 would be for me. But I'm glad it's here. Again, mentally speaking, I can just replace this with Civilization 2, and you're like, look, Civilization has a representative. We're good. Oh, we got Grim Fandango, peeps. Damn. Okay. Shit. We got Day of the Tentacle and Green Fandango. I've tried a lot of it. I've talked a lot about Green Fandango earlier. I'm not gonna repeat myself. Let's see what's it. PCs popularized the point-and-click adventure game. Yeah. They were mechanically simple, but tended to wow gamers with engrossing narratives and mind-bending puzzles. Fair enough. A unique blend of film noir and ancient Mexican folklore. Did I write this? Or did the thingy just take from my writing? See, they don't know that it says just Dia de los Muertos skeletons. They don't know they're called Calaca figures, so it is what it is. I did more research into it. Plays control many calavera and helps solve puzzles and uncover gangster conspiracies with only his wits, brains, and bottomless tuxedo pockets. Yeah, the bottomless tuxedo pockets are fun. But much like in the spirit of Simon the Sorcerer, well, you know what? Technically speaking, his hat was magical, and it made sense. It was a hat of holding, not a bag of holding. He has a hat of holding. Use that in your next D&D game. Moreover, the game's puzzles and art direction are widely considered among the genre's finest. Look, let's put some brakes on the puzzles part being the genre's finest. The art direction, definitely. The puzzles, especially from the last year of the story, they are not the genre's finest. They are. There's a bunch of them that are great. Like, it has occasional great puzzles, but there's a bunch of them, a lot more of them that aren't. 2015, Double Fine Productions published a remastered version of the game. Not only did this reissue improve graphical fidelity, true, without compromising the original art style, also true, it introduced Green Fandango to a new generation of PC gamers and brought the adventure to other platforms. Fair enough, that's true. And definitely play it. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I have a video on it, watch it. Oh my god, another list that has Elden Ring on it, and it's from 2022. Look, maybe the game is as dope as people tend to make it out to be, but still way too early to have it on lists of all time. Also 2022, definitely not something. We got Doom. Hey people, we got Doom. Says it's not the original first FPS, but it is largely considered to be the mother of the genre. Everything ID Software did in the groundbreaking World 5 was improved and iterated upon in Doom. Fair enough. Pairing the developer's evolution take on game design with a jaw-dropping heavy metal aesthetic, Doom bursts onto the scene, changing gaming forever. Yeah. Laid the groundwork for competitive play. Yeah, that's true. Look. Yeah, you can't really have one of these lists of actual all-time and not have Doom or, you know, Doom 2. One of these. And it depends on your choice. I don't know if it should be Wolfenstein 3D, because that was considerably less technically able and even visually speaking not as pizzazzy as Doom was. But as a great sort of illustration of a genre spawner, yeah, you cannot not have Doom. Most of us have played Doom and or Doom 2. I hope. What most of us haven't played, actually, or, you know, the FPSs that don't get talked about enough from that era are Heretic and Hexen, which I plan on talking about at a certain point. We'll see. Mass Effect. Look. I know people like these games, and that's fine. As I said earlier, enjoy what you enjoy if you enjoy. I never played any of them. I never had any interest in playing any of them. I don't have any interest in playing any of them now. That's about it. Oh, look, Unacom, they got LOL here. Look, you shouldn't have Dota 2 and League of Legends on any of this. Like, that's, no. Sure, League of Legends is arguably way bigger than Dota 2, but again, if you're gonna have of all time, don't need to double up on it. Dota 2 was big and still arguably is, so you either go with one or the other. As to my rule of just pick one. Oh, sorry. Undertale. Now, I have heard a lot about Undertale. I never got around to play it. And this is the type of game that still gets mentioned now and again. So I'm pretty sure this can be on lists. It's from 2015. So yeah. Maybe just a bit too young to be necessarily of all time. But I gotta say, this is consistently brought up in various discussions. So yeah, I think it can be on a list. Maybe not now, but you know. We get Quake, which, you know, you can argue between Doom or Quake. I don't know what Quake was way more 3D and streamlined the multiplayer quite a bit. So, you know, it's an interesting discussion if you have both or if you can just go with one. I don't know. They decided to go with both. Sure. I don't mind it being here. I'm just thinking about how similar it is to Doom or how different it is to Doom and whether or not it fits as in the same series. Technically it's not, but you know. Oh shit, Microsoft Flight Simulator. Yeah, we don't see, even on my recent, and this is a bit of a like a gap space in my sort of experience. Even in my recent list, I don't have any flight sims because I didn't really play a lot of Unicom was much more into that shit. But they used to be really flight sims in general used to be quite a subgenre back in the early to mid 90s, even close to the 2000s, to be honest. Microsoft Flight Simulator I played like an ancient version of it. This one is from 22, but Microsoft have been doing flight simulation, flying simulator, airplane something games for a long time. And I did play an older one of them, and at least one of these things does have to like at least one flight sim has to be here. So yeah, definitely. Even if as a sort of tribute to all of those genre titles that I'm talking about, and I'm referring especially to like the Jane's series of stuff. GTA 5. Look, of course they're gonna go with 5 because this was by far the most popular. As far as I'm concerned, Vice City would be my GTA representative. But look, you definitely need the GTA. It was awesome. It was awesome because I stopped playing after San Andreas. I do want to do like a quick sort of video into the first one. I think the first one doesn't get talked about enough, so I wanna look at that one at a certain point in the future. Disco Elysium, obviously one of the games that I should have played. Unfortunately, I never really got around to, and considering its newness, it's unlikely for me to ever get around to it. Maybe in like 20 years time I'll get around to playing it, but I know a lot about it. I know a lot of people super duper enjoy it. It sounds like something that I would dig because it's much more of a interactive narrative sort of RPG. And honestly, it's something I plan on sort of making maybe this year, but you know, not this, considerably not this, but kind of this, but not this. Yeah, sure. I don't know if it's on an all-time list. It might be. We'll see what we'll let time tell on that one. Final Fantasy 14. I fucking look. If this is the only MMO here, it will be a bad choice because you could have World of Warcraft, which was the biggest. Could have further back EverQuest, which was massive, or you could have or you should have Ultima Online. I wouldn't go with FF14 on any sort of list. No. Age of Empires 2, Age of Kings. Yep, this is a good one. This is a very good one. The real-time strategy genre is loaded with all-time greats on the PC, from StarCraft to Command and Conquer and so many others. Actually, not really, those are all of them. Particular credit is also due to the Age of Empires series. Yes, and the Age of Empires is the third one. Yeah, Age of Empires 2 was really, really dope, and it did a lot of cool stuff. I got nothing on this. I play this. It's dope. It is le dopest. It's fine. It has StarCraft 2. God damn it. It starts by saying that StarCraft is the seminal sci-fi RTS that set the PC gaming world on fire. Without that title, competitive gaming wouldn't be as big as it is. Well, okay, that is right. That is, competitive gaming wouldn't be as big as it is today. And then it says StarCraft 2 is StarCraft but bigger and better. Look, it's different. It is a different game. I don't know about bigger, maybe. Definitely not better necessarily, but different. It's a different game. Unlike StarCraft, which was eventually ported to Nintendo 64, okay, StarCraft 2 is exclusive to PC. Yeah. Buying all 3 StarCraft 2 games. Blah, blah, blah. Look, I would obviously choose StarCraft. I have documentation on the video of my love and / opinion of why StarCraft is like a pillar of gaming. So I would obviously choose StarCraft, not StarCraft 2. Though, to be honest, I did play a fair bit of StarCraft 2 as well, including like, and when I say a bit of, when I say I played StarCraft and StarCraft 2, I'm not talking about the single player stuff. I'm talking about playing it online and in LAN and, you know, competitive bullshit. Like, I'm not talking about just playing the single player missions and shit. That's fine. That's not what the game is really about, unfortunately. The Sims 3. Definitely need The Sims on the list. It's interesting to go with 3. Maybe 3 was the one that was the biggest, though I would argue I see way more Sims 2 expansions and Sims 2 and when thrifting. But you definitely need The Sims. It's fine. I played the first one a little bit. I enjoyed it. Not really my shtick. Diablo 2. Okay. Says the hack and slash RPG genre. Can't we just call it action RPG? Jesus Christ. Wouldn't be the same as it is today were it not for Diablo 2. Released all the way back in 2000 and bearing things like Nox, Diablo 2 succeeded as a sequel on all levels. That's true. It expanded the series scope, true, with a great host of new characters, a much improved combat system with innovative customization options. Innovative customization options. What were the innovations necessarily? Like what? Runes? I guess. Set items? That were I don't know if those were invented by Diablo 2. Maybe they were. I'm not sure. And free-to-play online servers. Okay, fair enough. These factors combined for Diablo 2 to become at the time the fastest PC game to sell over. Yeah, sure. The most enduring innovation in Diablo 2 is its loot system. Oh, maybe they mean that as an innovation. Fair enough. Look, I have a deep dive video in Diablo 2. very important game, and I love it, and in my history and in general. I have a much more recent video on Diablo 1 though. On Diablo basically, it's not Diablo 1. And technically it's 2 videos, but one of them is about the game and the other one is about the Hell 3 mod. And I think I'm gonna have another Diablo mod video for later this year. There's another mod that I need to try. Hey, Stardew Valley is here. Cool. Again, I understand. It's not necessarily just a console game, and people have been playing it on PC as well. And that's cool. Not something I got into at all. Probably I could, because, you know, it definitely has what I would call a slight city building aspect to it, the farming thing. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm fine. I'll be fine. But if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. Portal 2, actually. This is one of the, like, I haven't played either of the Portals, nor do I care about them at all. So again, if you enjoy it, more power to you. Not my thing. This goes back to my Half-Life opinions. Hey, we do have Minecraft. We had to have Minecraft. Yeah, it definitely has to be on a list. Even if you play, like, I have never played Minecraft at all. Nor do I have any interest in playing it. But if you do, go for it. We got World of Warcraft. I have quite the experience is to mention in regards to this, but yeah, it definitely has to be here. I would definitely not have put Final Fantasy 14 for sure, but I guess it's popular with the younger set. Says it quickly became a cultural phenomenon, pretty much. The first 2 expansions, The Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King, were equally lauded as fantastic continuations of an already great game. Yeah, cool story. I started playing basically sometime before Wrath. So, yeah. The MMORPG genre was in its infancy, that's true-ish. Again, we had EverQuest and RuneScape as well, and Ultima Online prior, and probably a bunch of others. Yeah. In the years following this game's success, the other game development studios took aim at trying to create the fabled WoW killer. This was an especially juicy target to hit because, yeah, look, you can't really have a talk about best games of all time on PC and not talk about WoW. The Secret of Monkey Island Special Edition, again, not necessarily need a special edition, or better said, nothing wrong with playing the special edition, because again, you can switch it back into the original, which I have and I have played. And I'm glad to see so many point-and-click adventure games on this list, and, you know, proper classics. I got nothing against this one. Great entry. Okay, we need to chill the fuck down with the Baldur's Gate 3 hype. Like, I understand it's a good game. It's really early to have it on the best games. Like, regardless how much you love it, regardless if it does prove to be one of the best PC games of all time, you need to chill the fuck down with the hype. And stop putting it on lists of best games. Oh, and Half-Life 2. Whoop-de-freaking do. I would definitely not put any Half-Life in any of my lists. Definitely not on the first spot. You know what would be on the first spot? Tetris. And there's very little you can argue against that. And if you try to, I'll just not listen, because it's just gonna be gibberish. So But I understand the other people. Most of the other part of the most of the other globe people enjoyed this, but I was never. It was never for me. Let's just leave it at that. That notwithstanding, this has been a holy shit, ranked the 10 best RPGs of all time, and it starts with Baldur's Gate 3. You can fuck the right off now. No. So back to what we were doing. Very few exceptions in this one. From what I thought this type of a list should have. Yeah, it's a surprisingly good list. I think it's the best list of stuff of all time. You know, the various caveats included, which I mentioned at the beginning of the stream. For what it is, because it says of all time, it went with 55 entries, which is weird. There is a clear lack of Tetris, which is really unforgettable as far as I'm concerned when it comes to games. But otherwise, look, we have a bunch of point and click games, classics. It has a Civilization in it. It has Deus Ex, it has System Shock 2. Let's see what else is really noteworthy. Oh, it has Black and White, which is great. Let's see what else was super nice to see. Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's fair enough. Yeah, that one shouldn't have been there. I don't care about that. Yeah, I said about but Green Fandango being there is nice, as well as all of the other ones. So yeah, surprisingly valid. Oh, Cuphead was the other one. I was like, nah. Surprisingly valid list. I am. Oh yeah, Factorio. Surprised to see Factorio in there as well. Terraria not so much, but Factorio and Dwarf Fortress. Yeah. Unicam Prince of Persia. Look, if we're gonna talk princes, I will go with the first one always. For many a reason. But look, yeah, except for this one, Dream Daddy. What the shit? Anyway. But yeah, surprisingly, oh, and it started with the Zoo Tycoon, and it also has Roller Coaster Tycoon. So yeah, who knew the MSN Copilot creation is possibly one of the less shitty top PC games of all time lists I have had the pleasure to react to. The pleasure or not pleasure to react to, considering the other ones. Well, that was considerably more fun than I had hoped. Because again, considering the last example, woof. Besides the fact that I'm pretty sure most, if not all of these, are kind of written by AI and whatnot, the entries are overall solid. Again, there's obvious things you have to cut when you limit yourself to 55, even if you limit yourself to 100. But I gotta say, yeah, the year has started off fairly good for from this perspective. Yes. Anywho, I think that's about it for this stream. Thank you very much for watching. Stick around, of course. Videos will be starting, let's see, well, not next week, I'm pretty sure. So I think proper videos will start from like the 13th. Though I may also stream. I may stream some more in between them. I've been Stephen Nonsense. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.